Ladies and gentlemen, you've been knocked down, you've been betrayed, you've experienced loss like you never thought you'd have to endure, and the weight of it all feels like it's more than you can bear. You feel broken. But let me tell you something, you are not defeated. You might be wounded, you might be hurt, you might be scarred, but you are not defeated. There's a difference between being broken and being undone. You may be broken, but I want you to hear me clearly. This is not the end of your story. You see, God has a way of taking the broken pieces of our lives, the mess, the chaos, the things that have shattered, and He has the ability to restore them in a way that you never expected. And when He restores, He doesn't just patch you up, He makes you better than you were before. So if you find yourself in the rubble of what once was, I need you to know that your miracle is in the making. When life breaks you, it's easy to look around and think it's all over, to feel as if the pieces of your life are scattered so far apart that you can never put them back together. But I've come to tell you today that God specializes in restoration. The places where you've been shattered, those are the very areas where He's going to build you back stronger. You've got to trust. Look at the potter. The potter takes a lump of clay and he begins to shape it, form it, mold it. But every now and then something goes wrong. The clay may become marred, distorted. It doesn't look right. It seems like the potter has made a mistake, but the potter doesn't throw it away. No, he takes that clay and he works it over again. He begins again because he sees something that the eye can't see. He sees the potential, the value, the purpose in that clay. Life is like that. You are like that clay. The hurt, the disappointment, the betrayal, the pain. It may seem like it's ruined you, but the truth is, God's not finished with you yet. And I need you to understand that just because you've been broken doesn't mean you're beyond repair. The cracks in your heart, the tears in your spirit, the scars on your soul, they don't define you. They are simply part of the story that is unfolding in your life. I know it feels hard. I know it feels like you've been stretched too thin, like you've been broken down beyond recognition. But in the midst of all of that, I want you to lift your head up high. Don't you dare let the enemy tell you that it's over. Don't you dare let the world tell you that you're done. You are still here. You are still standing. And as long as you have breath in your lungs, you are not out of the fight. When life breaks you, it's easy to lose sight of who you are. The world may try to label you by your failures, your mistakes, your hurt, but you are not defined by the storm you've been through. You are defined by the God who created you, by the purpose He has placed on your life. You may be going through something that feels overwhelming, but I need you to remember this. You are not what you've been through. You were not meant to be overwhelmed. It wasn't meant to have a karate massage for a lifetime. You are not what has happened to you. You are who God says you are. When life breaks you, you've got to dig deep. You've got to remember that you are more than your circumstances. You are stronger than you think. And if you could just hold on just a little longer, if you could just keep moving forward, even when it feels impossible, you will see the glory of God in ways you never imagined. You've got to know that sometimes God will allow you to go through the storm, but He won't leave you in the storm. There's a purpose in the pain. There's a reason behind the struggle. It's in those moments when you feel like you're at your lowest that God is preparing you for your highest. You may not see it now, but just wait. There's a breakthrough coming. There's a blessing with your name on it. You can't give up now. You've come too far. The strength that you need is already inside of you. God has equipped you with everything you need to rise again. I know the weight of the world feels heavy on your shoulders. I know that life has been unfair and the road has been tough, but hear me today. You are still standing because you were built for this. You were created to overcome. You were made for more than what you've been through. When life breaks you, you've got to remind yourself who you are. You've got to look in the mirror and say, I may be broken, but I am not finished. I may be wounded, but I am still whole. I may be hurt, but I will heal. Don't let your circumstances define you. You are more than your pain. You are more than your past. You are more than what the enemy would try to label you as. When life breaks you, God will show up in ways you never expected. He will send help when you need it most. He will provide strength when you feel weak. He will make a way out of no way. And when you come out on the other side, you won't just be whole again. You will be stronger, wiser, and more equipped to walk into the next level of your purpose. Your pain is not in vain. Your tears are not wasted. The struggle is not for nothing. God is doing a work in you. You may not understand it now, but you will. The brokenness you feel will lead to your breakthrough. The darkness you are walking through will lead you to the light. And when God brings you through, you will be able to look back and say, ooh, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I wouldn't be here today. You've got to hold on to your faith. You've got to hold on to your belief. You've got to hold on to your trust in God, because He is going to bring you through. I know it doesn't seem possible right now, but that's the beauty of it. God specializes in doing the impossible. He takes what seems broken, what seems irreparable, and He creates something beautiful out of it. You may be broken right now, but that's not the end of your story. It's just the beginning. So rise up. Don't you dare let life keep you down. You've been through the fire, but you're coming out as pure gold. You've been pressed, but you're not crushed. You've been hurt, but you will heal. You've been broken, but you will rise again. And when you do, you will be better than before. You will be stronger, wiser, and ready to walk into the destiny that God has for you. You were made to withstand the storms of life. You were made to rise above the challenges. You were made to be victorious. And when you come through this, you will know that nothing, not even life's hardest moments, can break you. Because with God on your side, you are unbreakable. So hold your head up high, child of God. You are not finished. You are not done. You are just getting started. And I believe that the best is yet to come. Let me know if you would like me to expand any parts of it. The message emphasizes that while life may break you with hardship, loss, and betrayal, you are not defined by your struggles. Your identity is found in who God says you are, not in the challenges you've faced. Even in brokenness, there is a process of restoration. Just like clay in the hands of a potter, God is molding you through pain. And although it may feel uncomfortable or incomplete, He is shaping you for a stronger and better version of yourself. The speech conveys that there is a purpose behind your pain. The hardships you face are not in vain. They are preparing you for something greater. God uses the struggles to build your strength and to equip you for the future. The core message is to hold on to your faith. In times of brokenness, perseverance through faith is the key to emerging stronger, wiser, and victorious. Your breakthrough is coming, and you will rise again, stronger than ever before. These keynotes provide a foundation of hope, resilience, and the belief that there is a greater purpose behind life's toughest moments. You've been through things in your life that no one else may fully understand. You've felt pain, rejection, and loss. There have been times when you've questioned why things happened the way they did. And perhaps you've even wondered if you'll ever heal from the wounds that life has inflicted upon you. But I want you to know something today. You are not defined by your pain. It's easy to look at your life and think that the pain you've endured is all you will ever be. Maybe you've been hurt by a loved one, betrayed by a friend, or faced some unimaginable loss. You might look at the scars, the bruises, the tears, and you might even feel like you are nothing more than the sum of all the hurt you've experienced. But I need you to hear me loud and clear. You are not the hurt. You are not the heartbreak. You are not the betrayal. You are not your struggle. Pain is a part of life. And yes, it is real. It is heavy. And it can feel like it weighs you down in a way that makes you feel like you can't breathe. There are moments when the pain seems like a shadow that follows you everywhere, a burden that you can't escape, a weight that you can't shed. But the truth is, while pain is a part of your journey, it does not determine your destination. You are not defined by your pain, because pain is a temporary circumstance, but your identity is eternal. The things you go through in this life, the heartaches, the disappointments, the moments when it feels like the world is crashing down around you, those are experiences. They are not you. They may affect you, they may influence you, but they do not determine who you are at your core. I know that sometimes the scars of the past seem impossible to heal. There may be parts of you that feel shattered, irreparably broken. But let me tell you this, the fact that you are still here proves that you are stronger than your pain. You might feel like you've been bent, twisted, or even broken, but listen to me. Your pain is not the end of your story. It's only a chapter. And even if you've been through heartbreak, betrayal, or failure, it doesn't mean that you are incapable of moving forward. We all go through moments in life when we feel like we are defined by the hardships we've faced. Perhaps you've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You gave your heart to someone and they left you in pieces. Maybe your dreams were shattered, or maybe you've had to bury someone you loved. But the pain, the loss, the disappointment, they are not the whole story. They do not tell the whole truth about who you are. Who you are is not determined by the people who walked away, by the opportunities that slipped through your fingers, or by the failures that you feel have defined you. You are not defined by the past mistakes you've made, the regrets you carry, or the wounds that still hurt. You are so much more than that. You are a person who has faced challenges, who has endured pain, and who has come out on the other side stronger. That's what defines you, your strength to keep going, your ability to rise up again, your resilience. When you allow your pain to define you, you limit yourself. You trap yourself in a prison of your own making because you begin to believe the lie that this is all you are capable of. But your past is not your prison. Your pain is not your identity. Your brokenness is not your final state. The people who walk away from you, the ones who hurt you, or the ones who abandon you, they don't determine your worth. No one else has the power to define you unless you give them that power. And the moment you allow your pain to define you, you lose sight of who you truly are. You forget that you were created for more than what you've been through. Let me remind you of something. You are more than the circumstances you've experienced. You are more than the relationships that ended in disappointment. You are more than the moments when life didn't go your way. The pain you carry is real, but it's not all there is to you. It doesn't define your worth, your potential, or your future. The truth is, pain will come in many forms throughout your life. It's a part of being human. You will lose loved ones. You will face rejection. You will encounter failure. But just because pain comes doesn't mean that you have to let it stay. Pain is a part of life, but it's not the whole of life. One of the most powerful things you can do is decide to redefine your relationship with pain. Instead of seeing pain as something that defines you, choose to see it as something that shapes you. Pain will shape you, yes, but it will not shape you into someone weaker, someone broken beyond repair. No, the kind of pain that you've been through, the kind of heartbreak you've experienced will only shape you into someone more powerful, someone more resilient, someone who understands what it means to rise up after being knocked down. You see, pain has the potential to make you better if you let it. The scars you carry are not marks of defeat. They are signs of survival. They are reminders that you've been through the fire and come out on the other side. Each scar tells a story of strength, of perseverance, of courage. So when you look at your life and see the pain, don't focus on the hurt. Focus on the strength it has birthed in you. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed." 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. That's what I want you to remember when you're facing pain. You may be pressed, you may be perplexed, you may be persecuted, but you are not destroyed. You are still here. And the fact that you are still here means you are stronger than you realize. The things that break you are the things that teach you. They show you what you're made of, what you're capable of. They remind you that even when you feel like you can't go on, there is something inside of you that refuses to quit. There is something in you that will rise again. If you've been through a painful experience, I want you to know that it doesn't have to define you. It can teach you. It can help you grow, but it does not have to be your identity. You have the power to shape your future. You have the power to choose what defines you. Don't let the past hold you back. Don't let the pain of yesterday dictate the possibilities of tomorrow. You are so much more than the trials you've faced. You are a person who has been through fire and come out refined. You are someone who has felt the sting of loss but is still standing strong. You are someone who has been through heartache but is still open to love. You are someone who has fallen but is still determined to rise. Your worth is not in what you've been through. Your worth is in who you are. And who you are is someone with infinite potential, someone with strength, someone with a future that is brighter than anything you've seen so far. Your pain is part of your story, but it is not the whole story. Your story is still being. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is falling apart. The pieces of your world scatter and you're left staring at the wreckage, unsure of how to pick them back up. It's in these times of brokenness that you may question whether there is any hope for restoration, or if you'll ever be able to stand again. You might feel like the things you've lost are irreparable and the damage too deep to fix. But I want to tell you this, there is restoration in the process. The idea of restoration is often misunderstood. We look at restoration as a simple act of putting things back together. But true restoration isn't about simply repairing what was broken. It's about renewing and transforming. It's about taking what was damaged and making it better than it was before. And this process, this journey of restoration, is one that requires patience, perseverance, and a belief that things can be different, that things will be different. Restoration doesn't happen overnight. It's not an instant fix. In fact, the process of restoration often begins with a season of loss, disappointment, and heartache. But in those moments, when it feels like everything is crumbling around you, know that God is doing something beneath the surface. You may not see it in the moment, but He is working in ways you cannot yet understand. Restoration takes time, and it often requires you to go through a process of refinement. The challenges you face, the pain you endure, the setbacks you experience, all of these are part of the process that will ultimately lead to your restoration. When you think about restoration, think of a beautiful piece of furniture that's been weathered by years of use. When it's first brought to the craftsman, it may seem like a lost cause. The wood is scratched, the finish is dull, and the structure might even be shaky. But the craftsman doesn't see it as ruined. Instead, he sees the potential hidden beneath the surface. He begins the restoration process by carefully sanding down the old finish, filling in the cracks and reworking the structure. With every step, the piece of furniture is being transformed. It's not being repaired to be the same as it was before. It's being made better, stronger, and more beautiful than it was initially. In much the same way, the process of restoration in our lives often begins with a painful stripping away. Sometimes God allows things to be taken from us, whether it's a relationship, a job, a dream, or a part of ourselves we once held dear, because He's preparing us for something greater. He's stripping away the old so He can make room for the new. It's not easy and it's not comfortable, but it's necessary for the restoration to take place. In those moments when you feel like you're being broken down, remember this, you are not being destroyed, you are being refined. The very things that feel like they are tearing you apart are actually shaping you into something stronger. God is using the fire to purify you, to take away the things that would hold you back, and to prepare you for the greatness He has planned for you. When you're in the fire, it may feel like you're being consumed, but in reality, the fire is burning away the things that are not of Him, the things that would keep you from becoming who He has called you to be. And after the fire comes the restoration. You may feel like the process will never end. You may wonder if you'll ever be whole again or if you'll ever be able to move forward. But I want to remind you, restoration is a promise. God promises to restore what the enemy has stolen. He promises that even when things are broken, He will make them whole again. But the process is one of patience. It takes time. The restoration doesn't happen overnight, but it happens in His perfect timing. And while you're waiting for restoration, know that God is also strengthening you. Every step of the way, you are being made stronger. Every moment of pain, every season of struggle is building you into someone who can withstand what's coming next. It's strengthening your faith, your character, and your ability to handle the blessings that God is preparing to pour into your life. There's a reason why restoration often takes time. It's because God wants you to be ready for what's coming. He wants you to be able to handle the blessing, the success, the joy, the peace that He is bringing into your life. And He knows that if you rush the process, you may not be prepared to receive all that He has for you. So He allows you to go through the process, step by step, until you are strong enough, mature enough, and wise enough to fully appreciate and handle the restoration that's coming your way. When you look back on the process of restoration in your life, you will see how far you've come. You will see how God has worked in ways that you couldn't even understand at the time. You'll see how the pain and the struggle were not in vain. They were the tools that God used to refine you, to shape you, to make you better than you were before. And when you look at yourself, you'll realize that you are stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future than you ever could have been if you hadn't gone through the process. Restoration doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. It deepens your understanding of who God is and who you are in Him. It strengthens your faith and teaches you how to trust Him even when you can't see the way forward. It builds your character and prepares you for the next level of your purpose. Restoration is not just about getting back to where you were, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. It's about stepping into a new season of abundance, of fulfillment, and of destiny. And as you go through the process, remember that you are not alone. God is with you every step of the way. When you feel like you're at your lowest, when you feel like you're being stripped bare and left with nothing, know that He is holding you up. He is walking through the fire with you, guiding you and strengthening you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. The restoration you're waiting for is coming. The strength you need to endure is already inside of you. The process may not be easy, but it is worth it. Because on the other side of the struggle, there is a version of you that is stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the blessings that are waiting for you. God is restoring your joy, your peace, your strength, and your purpose. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being made whole. As you move through the process of restoration, remember that every step is part of God's plan for your life. Every moment of pain, every moment of waiting, every moment of uncertainty is leading you towards something greater. God is not finished with you yet. He is still working. He is still transforming. He is still restoring. And when the restoration is complete, you will be amazed at what He has done in your life. Muchas son, honey, you will be amazed at how far He has brought you. Trust the process. Trust that the pain, the loss, the waiting, the struggle, it's all part of the restoration. Trust that God is working in ways that you cannot yet see. He is making you better. He is making you stronger. And He is preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. There are moments in life when the weight of the world feels unbearable, when it feels like everything is falling apart and the struggles you face seem endless. You look around and it feels like everyone else is moving forward, living their lives, while you're stuck in a place of difficulty, hurt, and hardship. You may wonder, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Is there any purpose to all of this pain? I want you to hear me today. There is purpose in your struggle. God has a way of using the challenges in our lives to shape us, refine us, and prepare us for something greater than we could ever imagine. Our struggles are not pointless and they are not random. The very things that seem to tear us down are the very things that God can use to build us up. You see, your struggle is not the end of your story. It is the foundation for your growth, your transformation, and your ultimate purpose. The difficulty you're going through is a part of God's divine plan for your life. There's a powerful truth that we need to embrace. God does not waste pain. He does not let any trial go by without it having a purpose. Even when life feels like it's throwing everything it can at you, God is still working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail to align with the bigger picture He has for your life. The struggles, the setbacks, and the hardships, they are all part of His divine plan to take you to a place of greater strength, greater character, and greater purpose. I know it's hard to see in the moment. When you're in the middle of your struggle, it's difficult to understand why things have to be this way. You might feel like you've been abandoned or forgotten. You might feel like the promises of God are far from you and that your prayers are not being answered. But I want to remind you that God's purpose is always greater than what we can see. His ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. What may feel like a setback, what may feel like a moment of defeat, is actually God's way of setting you up for something bigger than you could ever imagine.